So I actually think the nickname or the catchphrase, "We're the best wrestle," after this show, it is a pretty apt nickname. It's bang on the money. Hello and welcome to FTTR, I am Hugh McQuaid, and today we are talking about AEW Dynasty 2024, the inaugural Dynasty pay-per-view featuring the big old dream match between Bryan, Danielson and Will Ospreay, plus a lot more, but we're going to get to that. Wow. I have words, I have thoughts. We'll dive into them in a moment, but before we do, please hit subscribe, please like this video, please comment your thoughts down below on Dynasty and give me what you thought, and I'll try and apply to every single one of them, because Dynasty for me is more so great. I know it was a great show, but what I think this exemplifies is AEW's strengths and AEW's weaknesses. I think they are a mix of both on this show, so I don't want to call this a mixed bag, because I do think that the good vastly outweighed the bad on this show, but some little errors, some consistencies and inconsistencies made for a bit of an uneven night, and one that I think could have been streamlined with a few tweaks, which we'll get into in a moment. But before we do, this is my review. My thoughts, my feelings, every match, every angle, everything that happened, the way a review works. I did not watch the pre-show, I have only watched the main show. I know, of course, that Bullet Club Gold are the Unified Trios champions, as they should be. And Orange Cassidy, I think, beat Shane Taylor in a tag match. But I never really pay attention to the 0 hours anyway, because I don't think they're that entertaining, to be honest. And I don't want to make a show longer than it needs to be, because let's start with that. Let's start with the elephant in the room, and I think that is the length of the show. I think this night in particular, really exemplified cut a few matches. I think this show was too long and it felt long. There are at least 3 matches on this card that I could have cut, maybe 4 at a push, that could have just been completely shaved off. You shaved off about 1 hour and 20 minutes and you have a really succinct 3-hour show. Like, I think 3 hours of this was mind-blowingly great professional wrestling storytelling, but the other 3 could have been used in weekly TV, could have been used to better effect. It wasn't just a matter of the fact that they weren't that great. It could have been done on TV, and it didn't feel pay-per-view caliber. If anything, it felt like filler, and I don't like feeling that about my wrestling shows. I think this could have easily been trimmed down, or the matches been given a bit more oomph, which we'll get into. But Dynasty started with a really great video package, and then we got the opening match, which was Pac taking on Kazuchika Okada for the Continental Championship. I really enjoyed this match. I thought this was really, really fun. A completely deliberate pace. I thought that this was really well put together, because it emphasised both people's strengths and really helped Okada flesh out his new character of just being a prick. This had maybe my favourite spot in the entire show, which was when Okada went to do the Rainmaker and gave the middle finger to the hard cam. That, to me, and the reaction that he got from the crowd, because everyone was ready to say Rainmaker. Everybody in that arena was ready to go Rainmaker, and he gave the middle finger. It was perfect. Like, his character work has been second to none. And Pac was a really great first challenger for him, because Pac, he's credible. He's credible. He's just come back. He could probably defeat Okada for this, but they just emphasised loads of big moves and gave things a lot of time to breathe, like the big brain buster that Pac hit from the top rope and the Impaler DDT that Pac sold like a boss on the outside. All that was really, really good, and it might have been slow, but I think building to those big moves, building to the finishes and some of the closing sequences, like Pac locking in the not the Black Arrow, because that's his other move, the Rings of Saturn, no, the Brutalizer, he calls it the Brutalizer, locking in the Brutalizer, and Okada just slowly realising he's stuck in it. I thought that was really, really good. And then the counters of the Rainmaker, the counters of the Black Arrow. There was one, the second counter to the Black Arrow looked nasty. Looked like it got Pac right in the nose. And then a Rainmaker for the win. Okada retains the title. There was a low blow in there as well, of course, because it is bastard. Not the bastard, but a bastard Kazuchika Okada. And yeah, I love Okada and what he's doing right now. I couldn't have been more wrong in my trepidation of Okada coming to AEW, because I think he's doing great. He's one of my favourite acts to watch, and this was a really, really fun opening match for the card. Next up, we got the House of Black taking on Adam Copeland, Eddie Kingston, and Mark Briscoe in a trios match. This match is one of the matches that probably could have been saved for a main event of Collision or Dynamite. It went long. I felt this went really, really long for sort of what it was and the story that they were getting across. Because the main story that they were telling in this is that Malachi's not touching Adam Copeland. Every time they went to square off, they would find a way to disconnect, whether it be Malachi tagging out, whether it be the other guys of House of Black jumping in. They would always be kept apart. Eddie Kingston's part in this story was to just be cool and hit cool moves, chopping everyone, falling over because he is chopping people. And I liked that they each sort of had their own feuds going on. Like Buddy was with Mark, Brody was with Eddie, and Malachi's was with Adam. I thought that worked really well. There were some cool spots in here, like everyone hitting the spear at the same time. That was really good. Buddy Matthews just needs more time. If I were Tony Khan, send Buddy down to ROH, have him win the ROH championship and just have a massive run of killer matches, because he's so good to be stuck in the sort of never-ending trios loop of the House of Black. And I could say that for all of them. I feel like they've got such breakout singles potential, but Buddy Matthews for me is my favourite. I love the way he wrestles. And this sort of built to the closing sequences, which was Adam Copeland getting in the face, nearly running for a spear on Malachi Black, and then getting misted in the face, hit with the end for the 1-2-3. Malachi picked up the win. I think that was the right choice. We're obviously building to some sort of match between Copeland and Malachi, whether that be on Collision or that be at Double or Nothing. I'm excited for that. Hopefully Malachi picks up the belt, because he does deserve it, and Copeland can go off and do something with Christian Cage, tag team stuff, feud with the Bucks, feud with the Elite. That's the way I want to see Adam Copeland go. But yeah, I enjoyed this match for what it was, but I didn't feel like it needed to be on the pay-per-view. Next up, we got Julia Hart defending her TBS championship against Willow Nightingale in a match that was very short. I didn't know which way this was going to go, because it is reported that Julia Hart is injured, so I didn't know if they'd shoot an angle. But this was a very, very sort of brief match. Julia took a few bumps. She got hit with a huge boot from Willow right out the gate. Just clocked her. And yeah, they just did some stuff. Did some wrestling moves. Willow came back with a clothesline and hit with the Babe with the power for the win. This was not very long at all. Willow is the new TBS champion. They did a bit of a tease where it looked like Chris Statlander would turn on Willow. But then, of course, Mercedes Moné comes out, stares down with Willow. That's the match we're getting at Double or Nothing. I don't think I've really said my piece on Mercedes Moné and sort of what she's done, because I haven't spoken about or reviewed anything. But for me, it's not quite clicking. I feel like this needed something else, whether it be Mercedes to get jumped by Statlander or Mercedes to jump Willow. It needed some sort of heat rather than just a stare off, because it was a bit but we'll see. I just want Mercedes to wrestle now. I just want Mercedes to wrestle, and this essentially was just a set up for that match, just a set up for Willow versus Mercedes. So we'll see how this goes. I want the build to be better. Overall, this was serviceable, but again, I feel like this could have been done on a Dynamite or a Collision. Sorry. Then we got a match that I feel really guilty about, and that is Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly. And I feel guilty about it because I feel like I should have enjoyed this more. I didn't enjoy this as much as I thought I would, even though it was like all my stuff. It was just backbreakers everywhere, Roddy hitting backbreakers on everything, and some really cool technical wrestling from Kyle O'Reilly. But it just didn't click with me. I don't know if it's because I've not really gelled with Undisputed Kingdom. I love Roddy. I think he's a great wrestler. I love Kyle O'Reilly. I think he's a great wrestler. But this just didn't click for me personally. And I think I'm in the minority for saying that I didn't really enjoy this. Not that I didn't enjoy it. It was really fun, but it wasn't necessarily gripping me at this point. And it didn't add much to the show. This was another one that I thought maybe television, this could have had a bit of a, not have been up against other matches on the card and it wouldn't have stuck out as much as it did. But I realise I'm in the minority here. Roderick Strong picked up the win clean, no sort of interference from the Undisputed Kingdom, and Adam Cole came out at the end with the UK, the Undisputed Kingdom, and he stood up, he walked. Hopefully his leg's getting better. He had a bit of a cheeky look at Wardlow, so we're probably going to get something involving Wardlow and Cole and the Kingdom moving forward. But yeah, this match to me was pretty good. Pretty good. Didn't hit the spot I wanted it to, though. Okay, now we have to talk about the elephant in the room. There's two elephants in this room. Francine, happy birthday. If anyone gets that reference, thank you very much. But there are two elephants in the room. The awesomeness of Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay and the borderline car crash of Chris Jericho versus Hook for the FTW Championship. This, for me, was boring, hard to watch, not entertaining, dull, and predictable. And the worst thing for this for me, because this should have been right up my street. This had plunder. It had some cool spots. I will give it that. Some cool spots. The suplex through the table was really cool to the outside that Hook did. And I can't think of any more. There was just some trash can stuff. Getting hit. Getting put the trash can on Jericho's head and hitting him with a kendo stick. That was fun, and suplexing him while he had it on. That was all fine. But this, for me, was an utter waste of time, and it felt like it went on for an eternity. And the main thing about this match, I'm not fussed if the crowd are chanting for Jericho to retire or go home Jericho. This crowd was brutal to Mr. Chris Jericho. My issue with this match is that it seemed like Jericho was giving no effort. It seemed like he was bored, and him being bored vicariously made me feel like I was bored, because there was nothing. All he'd do is just walk around and occasionally go like that. There was no sort of emotion or humour or anything from him in this. This just looked like the most basic, bland wrestling match I've ever seen. And Jericho seemed like he was putting no effort into it. And I don't want to call him out on that, because he might have been putting so much effort into it. Maybe he knows what his character is and what he's aiming for. But it did not land, and he came across as so disinterested that it made me disinterested. I don't know whether to do a full video on what to do with Jericho, but Jericho at the moment is really struggling. Really struggling. I mean, he picked up the win here. He's the FTW champion, by God. And where do we go from here for Jericho? Maybe that's a video to do, other than away. I think that's all he needs. I think that's all Jericho needs, is to just take a break for 6 months, 8 months, make people miss you, and rekindle your character. I don't know. Maybe there's a video to do. But overall, this is one of my least favourite matches of the year. I don't know if it's worse than Jimmy and Jay, but it's up there. It's up there. I don't know which one I found more entertaining. Jimmy and Jay was shorter, but this one had cooler spots in it. So it's a difficult choice. But yeah, this did not work for me in the slightest. Then we got a really good match between Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm for the AEW Women's Championship. I thought this was really good. This was really, really cool. I like that Thunder Rosa came out with a mask on, took it off, and she didn't have the face paint on. And then I saw her, and I was like, oh yeah, I've hardly ever seen her without face paint, and that's confusing me. But they had a really, really entertaining match. They had a really fun back and forth where they were just hitting each other really, really hard. Really hard. Thunder Rosa was being very, very stiff, clocking Toni Storm, and Toni Storm would just respond. This was a really hard-hitting match, and it eventually devolved into how I thought it would. Mariah May gets involved, Deonna Purrazzo comes down to even the odds, and then Toni Storm gets the upper hand, gets a really close near fall off its hip attack, I believe, into the Storm Zero pile driver. A really great near fall. And Thunder Rosa was making a little bit of a comeback, and Tony Storm just hoofs her in the lady parts and hits the Storm Zero for the win. 1, 2, 3. I really enjoyed this. I thought this was really, really good. And yeah, not much else to say about it. It's just a really solid match that could potentially lead to a stipulation down the line. Thunder Rosa, obviously, she's had history in a steel cage. Maybe we get Tony Storm versus Thunder Rosa in a cage. That'd be fun. Blow off this feud. But I think what Tony Storm needs is a big meat feud that she can sink her teeth into. And I think the best one for that is hopefully we get Britt Baker back soon and we can get DMD versus Tony Storm. I think that's the way to go moving forward. But this was a really fun match. Really enjoyed it. Then we got Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson. It was as good as you thought it would be. What more can we say other than this match was as good as we thought it would be? It was incredible. Easily like top 3 matches of the year straight away. And it exemplified both men's strengths. Technical wrestling from Danielson. High-flying offense from Ospreay. Incredible speed for a match that had so much technical wrestling and sort of double downs. This match felt like it went by like that. It was so quick. And I think a lot of that is down to the blending of styles. Like at the beginning, they were doing technical wrestling, they were doing mat wrestling. But with Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson in there, it was insanely quick. The way Danielson is dodging out of the way of these kicks that Ospreay's throwing, it was incredible. Incredible stuff. And then it all just built to big move, such as an Os cutter on the apron. Always looks terrifying. A running Basako knee into an Os cutter in the ring, which was awesome. Os cutter's getting countered. Really cool transition into a yes lock from Bryan Danielson. I thought that looked so cool. And a double underhook back suplex was insane. Insanely cool stuff. And then, let me just adjust my notes because I didn't take notes all the way through. You had, let me look. Oh my god, I need to mention this. The triangle choke transition into a Styles Clash was beautiful. It was so good. And the crowd chanting, "We're not worthy." We're not worthy of this match, but I'm happy I got to witness it. And what else do we have? We had the insane just no-sell sequence, because you know when no-sell's coming, it's a Will Ospreay match, you're going to get an insane power-up, King's Road style fire-up moment. It came from a half-and-half suplex straight into a hidden blade, which I thought was really cool. And then you had the standoff. The final sequence, essentially, you had the standoff between the two. It was like a western. Both men have one gun. Who's going to hit it first? Danielson's in one corner, psyching himself up for the knee. Ospreay's in the other corner, and he pulls off his elbow pad. He's going for the hidden blade. They both run at each other. Ospreay gets the upper hand, hits the hidden blade, hits the Tiger Driver, 91 or 93, one or the other, drops Danielson on his head, and Danielson's selling is next level. Absolute next level. Doctors are called over as, I think was it Bryce Remsburg? I think it was Bryce who was the ref for this match. As he's calling, Danielson stands up and Ospreay hits the hidden blade from out of nowhere. 1, 2, 3. Ospreay wins. The correct decision. The absolute correct decision. Incredible match. Angle at the end with the injury, I'm not fully keen on. I don't know how I feel about it just yet. I think the actual finishing sequence of it was incredible. I think this is obviously building to a split from the family, where the family are going to be like, Will, why do you feel bad about this? You need to do whatever you can to win. Will's going to feel conflicted about that. But what I think the beauty of this probably is, Will has said that he won't be doing the Tiger Driver. I think that's a work, and I think he'll bring it back at some point. When we least expect it, it'll be the most violent of blood feuds that he's having. He's going to hit that Tiger Driver in like a year and a half from now, and we will all collectively lose our minds. So I think in that regard, I think great, really great stuff, really great storytelling. Yeah, it was god tier wrestling, and you should really go out of your way to see this if you're a fan of professional wrestling, to be honest. And then how on earth do you follow that? Young Bucks versus FTR for the vacant tag team titles in a ladder match, of course. This was fun. I really enjoyed this. I think this isn't necessarily the FTR Bucks match that I've wanted, but sticking them in there with ladders, you know it's going to be carnage. And it was utter carnage. Like, you had dives through tables from Cash Wheeler. You had Cash Wheeler doing, like, insane stuff from a ladder bridge. You had Dax getting pissing blood out of his head. And the Young Bucks just being incredible bastards. I really, really liked the way this worked. There weren't sort of any, I'm not going to say like insane spots. I don't think anything in this match will stick in my mind as much as, say, like Darby going through the glass at Revolution will. But there was some really entertaining stuff in here. I really loved the suplex into the splash from the ladders from FTR. I think that was really, really cool. We didn't get, I think it was the one spot that I was like, okay, they're going to do this. I thought we were going to get some variation of a Young Buck holding a ladder and then getting hit with a shatter machine, but we didn't really get that. We got a shatter machine sort of pulling them off the ladder, but never like one of them holding a ladder and then getting hoisted up. Maybe logistically, it just wouldn't work. But that's what I was expecting from this. And yeah, there were some gnarly spots. Gnarly spots in this. But it ultimately led to a great finish. I think it was Nick and Dax on the ladder. Both of them are there. And then the way it's framed, the way the camera shot is framed, you can see sort of the, what would you call it? The way from the arena. The bit where you brawl in a WWE game that's outside of an arena. You know where I mean. You just see someone in a mask run in, jump the crowd, and the way commentary handled this was fantastic. Security run in. They're saying a fan has jumped the barricade, pushes off Dax. Security take the mask off. We all know who it is. It's Jack Perry. Jack Perry makes the save. He's escorted from the building by security, and he gives that Young Bucks win vicariously through the help of Jack Perry. I think this was great. He got a great reaction when the mask came off. I'm wondering what this footage has done for Jack Perry. He seems more over now than he does pre-all-in footage being released. He got a great reaction, and I'm excited to see where he goes with the Elite. I think it was a really cool angle, really cool way to do it and present it. The ladder match overall I thought was really, really good. Not my favourite ladder match ever, but really, really great stuff. I really appreciated everything they did. And we'll see where we go from here. Who are they going to feud with? The Young Bucks. I'm excited. I think it's exciting times for the tag division. And then we got the main event. We got Swerve Strickland taking on Samoa Joe for the AEW World Championship in a good match. I thought this was really, really good. I think it was really good. Main event caliber. And both men went out there and decided to show, we're going to show a different side to one another. We're going to show a different side, because this was, I expected a little bit more of a faster pace, but the way they played off each other, it escalated a lot into sort of submissions and tactical stuff. First of all, Swerve coming out with the Black Panther gear was really, really cool. Really cool attire. Really cool entrance gear. And then the match overall, where they just played off each other so well, like Swerve landing on his feet when Joe goes to do the walkaway spot, makes all the sense in the world, and drop kicks him out the ring. You had Joe just beating the crap out of Swerve. He rips up the padding on the outside and goes and hits a spinning side slam, scoop slam on the concrete. Sorry, I forgot my words. It was awesome. Really awesome. And then you got some near falls towards the end, really near submission spot when Joe locked in the coquina clutch, but Swerve had worked over the arm through the majority of the match. He'd wrapped it around ring post, wrapped it around steel. He was really working over the arm so that Joe could not win with the clutch, which ultimately paid off. And then the ending sequence, I think, from at least how I was watching, sadly got botched. I think Swerve overshot because they were on the turnbuckle. It looks like Swerve's going to jump from the turnbuckle and hit the stomp while Joe's on the second rope, but he overshoots and lands on his feet, and then recovers very quickly, powerbombs Joe, hits the Swerve stomp for the win. And there we have it. New AEW World Champion, Swerve Strickland. Easily the right choice. No Hangman interference. This was awesome. It was a really, really great way to end the show, with a new top babyface holding the gold. And where do we go from here? Where do we go from here indeed, as that capped off AEW Dynasty? I think Dynasty was a show of an up and then a down, and then we were right back up again. I think this is not the best show of the year. I think Revolution was superior to this, but it had an all-time great match between Ospreay and Danielson. Had a crowning of Swerve. It had the ladder match. It had Pac Okada, which I really, really enjoyed. There was a lot of stuff to enjoy on this show, and I think overall I give it a 4 out of 5. Not terrible. Really good. Really, really good show, and I hope you guys have checked it out. But I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Were you a fan? Were you not a fan? Let me know everything you want, and I'll try and apply to every single one of them. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.